welcome.
Hello friends, Dee Vakarja. It's Misha Owen Harris. My name is Owen. I'm a game designer and virtual reality designer from Dublin, Ireland. If you don't know our community, we have a really vibrant game scene in Dublin and in Ireland in general. We have a focus on experimental games and narrative games, and if you go to immert.ie, you can see some of the other work happening on the island. But I'm here today to talk about some of my own work. My work focuses on the intersection of playfulness, science, and well-being, but today I'm going to focus on the science part of that. I would like to suggest the idea that game designers and scientists actually make really good partners for projects. There is a potentially symbiotic relationship between the two, where you can work with scientists and use that to find the kind of financial stability to pursue your own strange art projects. But am I not just suggesting that you go out and do some random freelancing work? Like, why wouldn't you just work for an advertising company or a bank or someone like that? I'm going to try and convince you today that working with scientists is a little bit different from some of the other freelancing work that you might consider doing. Scientists tend to be, by their nature, multi-project based. Everyone that I've worked with is working on multiple things at the same time, and they'll expect you to do the same as well. When I've done work for advertising companies in the past or other kind of more regular contracting work, they expect you to be working 100% of the time on the thing that you're doing for them. Whereas scientists tend to be a bit more expectant that you'll be working on your art half of the week. The other thing is that the pace that scientists work with tends to be a little bit more slow than some of the other companies. You have a little bit more time to develop ideas and to explore ideas. At least that's been what I found so far. Oh. Sorry. And there's another problem as well. There's a wave of anti-science thinking sweeping the world at the moment. Anti-vaxxers, climate change deniers, and even flat earthers. And it kind of behooves us, I believe, as artists to kind of get involved in this fight. We're uniquely positioned as game designers to make science something that's kinesthetic, something that people can actually interact with, and hopefully bring about a kind of a return to the respect of science within general society. So I'm going to talk about the two projects that I work on that do interact with science. The first one is a virtual reality game called Deep. This is a meditative VR experience that is a response to my own difficulties with anxiety and depression. It's based around slow diaphragmatic breathing. And hands up who's ever done any breathing exercises before? So if you haven't, you can just synchronize your breath with this beautiful GIF. This is a really nice thing to save to your phone. And just slowly breathe in and out. Did anyone go to Shar's yoga experience this morning? Yeah, it was really good. I work on this project with a wonderful group of artists, including my creative collaborator, Nikki Smith, who's in the audience here. And this is a look at what it is. So Deep is an underwater world. You may have seen this in Isabella's talk yesterday. It's this beautiful underwater world that you navigate through in virtual reality, and you move about by breathing. That circle in the middle of the screen is a representation of your breath. As you inhale, the circle will get larger, and as you exhale, the circle will get smaller. I really like it a lot. So we were making this as an art project and bringing it around to different events. It was actually at a maze 3 years ago. Did anyone see it at a maze back then? Yeah. And we were contacted by some wonderful behavioral scientists who were interested in kind of investigating deep as a form of therapy. This is one of the lovely ads that Facebook has served me for therapy. I get these fairly regularly, maybe you do too. I don't actually understand what's going on in this picture, but I just love it. I'm not sure Who thinks the true self is the skeleton, and who thinks their true self is this crying lady? I think I'm the skeleton, but I'm not sure. Anyway, so working with the Radboud Institute, we've been investigating deep as an actual intervention for anxiety and depression, and we've published 2 pieces of work so far, and we have a number of other ones on the way. Working with scientists has been really rewarding for us. There's a lot of different relaxing games and meditative VR games, but we feel that working with scientists has allowed us to kind of gain credibility in what we're doing and kind of elevate it to something that could potentially be deployed in a hospital or something like that. And it's gone pretty well so far. We've toured it all over the world. This is a photo. And actually the last project was a part of this festival as well. This is the Tribeca Film Festival in New York, and this is my favorite picture of me and Nikki on a deep adventure. So that's a project that started off as an art project, and through collaboration with scientists, we've been able to gain credibility, notoriety, and also financial stability in the project. So that's been really positive. I want to talk about something from the other side now, which is Project Thea. And Project Thea is a collaboration with Cancer Research UK, Cambridge University, and a number of other institutes. And I'm just going to play a very short video about it, which hopefully will work.
So our Grand Challenge project is to try to present fully annotated tumors where we know everything about every cell in the cancer in a 3-dimensional virtual reality environment, so that everyone from scientists to patients and students can understand cancer in a new way. We actually have something in our virtual reality environment called Superman mode, which literally lets you fly inside a tumor, point at every cell, know exactly what kind of cell it is, know what it's doing, know who it's talking to, and know what it's saying to them.
For me, it sounded like science fiction because it's giving a step forward in cancer research. Like try to study each single cell within the tumor without disrupting its structure, and I think that it's very exciting.
It's an enormous challenge. I sort of liken it, to the idea of putting a man on Mars. Right? There's nothing that violates the laws of physics, but there's so much technology that you have to develop to do it. I think this is the very cutting edge of how people will, in the future, understand not only cancer, but organismal development. All sorts of biological problems all happen in 3D. And they happen in 3D with cells communicating with each other in ways that we really don't yet capture with any technology that we have developed so far. I think what this will do is to bring into Cambridge the seed that will be the future of biology.
So what the hell is it? So Project Thea is a virtual reality cancer lab, and what we do is we take tumors, in this case breast cancer tumors, out of a patient. They're embedded in a material and then sliced up incredibly thin, just a couple of microns thick. They're then imaged by a number of different imaging technologies, and from that we extract all of the positional, geometric, genetic, and protein information of each of the cells in the tumor. We then take all of that data and reconstruct it inside of Unity. So instead of it being a 1 by 1 by 1 millimeter square, it's a tumor the size of this room. Then the doctor can kind of point at any of the cells and figure out what's going on in that cell, where it came from, what its markers are, what its kind of qualities are. So why the hell are we even doing that? So this is all around breast cancer, and right now, if you live in the West, breast cancer, if you catch it, is a largely treatable disease. It's a largely treatable condition. The complications generally emerge if the cancer was to return for a second or a third time. Having all of that information in this kind of super easy to use kinesthetic way, the hope is that a scientist will be able to anticipate the manner in which a cancer might return and be ready for it, to kind of prepare for the fight before it happens. So you could kind of get a test in this way, and they go, okay, might come back through the blood, so we're going to do this blood test on you every 6 months, so we will be prepared for anything that might happen. As I said, it's a collaboration with Cancer Research UK and a number of other people, and I work with a wonderful team back in Dublin called Soul, and that's Robbie and Flaminia there, who are both game developers as well. Here's a quick look at the lab. So this is a sample that was taken out of someone. This is our first breast cancer sample, and you can pick it up and stick your head through it if you want to, and any oncologists that see it get tremendously excited by this. Because for hundreds of years, cancer scientists have been looking at tumors in the same two-dimensional ways through photographs or spreadsheets or slides. This is the first time they're actually able to look at it as it appeared in the body. So hopefully that's going to lead to different discoveries and outcomes. So what do game developers add to a science project like this? Well, there's a number of things. First of all, we are really quick. We are really fast at making stuff. Our jam culture means that we can kind of go into a lab and build something over a weekend. They're not used to this. They're used to long tendering processes, approving different things, and really slowly rolling out this pretty terrible software. The other thing is we're quite affordable. Compared to those awful companies that they've been working with before, even though everybody on my team is earning a good wage, and we have things like holiday pay and healthcare and pensions, it's still way cheaper than people who they've worked with before. If you've ever worked in the medical field, you might be used to awful software like this. It's hard to learn, it's hard to maintain, it's ugly to work with. One of the things that's happening in cancer at the moment is they sequence the genome of tumors that are taken out of people. Right now, the only tool to do this before the one that we built, you had to do it in the command line in Python, meaning that the oncologists needed to know how to use these technologies to actually get these outcomes. And then what it spits out is just a garble of text, which you need to analyze in another thing. We can do better than this. We can go into these communities and build them better tools. And this is a virtual reality track, so I will mention that both of my projects are in VR, and this is a good, VR is probably not going to be great for first-person shooter video games. I know I don't want to play a first-person shooter game in VR, but it is really good for research, and it is really good for therapy, and it is really good for science. And this community here is better at making VR stuff than any of the people outside of this community. And that project is working well. We won the highly competitive Grand Challenge Fund last year. That's a £20 million fund for our whole team to work on this over the next 6 years. That doesn't just include the virtual reality side of things, that includes all the crazy microscopes and gizmos and different things that have been made. So that's a look at my work with scientists so far. I'm going to talk about some of the challenges of working with scientists and how you can get started. So, the challenges. The culture with academic scientists is quite different to independent game development. Who here would consider a 1-hour meeting a long meeting? I would consider a 1-hour meeting to be a very long meeting. It's quite normal within these spheres for meetings to go on for multiple days, and that's just normal. It's exhausting, so you just need to be ready for that. The other thing which is to do with time is just decision-making. The decision-making process can be quite slow. Things that we'd be used to choosing between minutes and hours can go on for days or weeks. And also there's a difference between the stability of the academic scientist and the stability of the independent game designer. Generally, they're working within an institution, they have a very safe job, they know where their next paycheck is coming from. That might not be the case with you, so it's just important for you to communicate that vulnerability. How do you make it work? Well, one of the most important things is to just have a general curiosity from one team to another. I'm so lucky that many of the scientists that I work with are right here at this festival. They have shown our work, which is, because it's a team now, they've shown our work in game events, and I've shown our work in science events. And having that kind of crossover is really, really important. You need to get deeply embedded into each other's teams. They come to our design meetings now, and we go to some of the science meetings as well, on both projects. And through that, try and foster a respect for each of the teams. And it's important for you as a game developer to, demand that respect, to be heard when you know that what you want to do is the right course of action for that project. And it's important to be able to listen to what the scientists have to say because they know things that we don't know. With both projects, we have a different form of leadership. DEEP is an art-driven project. And so the artistic side of the project is the deal breaker, is the decision maker. Thea is a science-driven project. So all of the fancy, kind of juicy game design stuff I want to do takes a back seat to the actual science that needs to happen. So if you want to get involved with science, what is the kind of concrete steps that you can take towards doing this? The most important thing, as with any interactive project, is to follow your passion. There's no point in you just jumping into some random science thing that you heard a podcast about last week. Look within yourself. What is it that you're passionate about? For me, that's mental health. Maybe for you, it's something to do with the environment, or something to do with physics, or gravity, or the microbiome, or yeast, or something. Start with that. When you have that, get more specific. Kind of find a corner of that. And then you can use, as one of the wonderful scientists, Marika, pointed out, you can use Google Scholar to search the published papers in your locality and find scientists near you who are publishing in that zone. At that point, it could be the time to reach out to them. And I've been told that reaching out to more junior and younger scientists may sometimes have better results than reaching out to more senior academics. Cancer Research UK asked me to point out that they have this Pioneer Award. This is an annual award of £200,000 for projects in the field of cancer. As it says on the slide, they fund early stage, high risk ideas without the need of vast amounts of preliminary data. This is not going to be right for everyone. This might not be right for anyone, but maybe somebody in the audience here has a passion about science and is interested in doing a piece with them. I'll share this slide again on my Twitter after the talk if anyone's interested in it, and I can talk to you about working with CRUK and how wonderful they are. Working with science has given me the stability and the ability to pursue the strange art projects in my life. And the strange art projects in my life have also become science. I hope that over the course of this ramble, you have maybe heard the potential for this new and exciting path to stability. If anyone has any questions about it, I'd love to talk to you about it. You can read my own personal work on owenllharris.com. You can read about the Cancer Project on sool.ie, and you can read about DEEP on exploredeep.com. Thank you very much. We have a bit of time for questions, and also some of the scientists that I work with are here as well, so we might do the answers together where appropriate.
So if you have any questions, just please head to the microphone there.
Hey Owen.
Hello.
Could you tell us more about the point cloud representation of the cancer data? Can you fill in the details a little bit about the data structures that you use to display the cancer sample data sets?
So are you talking
point
about,
clouds?
Are you talking about under the hood or like visually?
Whatever feels
okay.
better, yeah.
So originally we were storing all the data in text files, which quickly became unsustainable. We started off with a data set of 10,000 cells with 20 or so gene markers. We now have a data set of 100,000 cells with hundreds of gene markers. So we moved to a HDF5, I think that's what it's called, data format. I don't handle the back-end stuff. I'm mostly kind of working in the design of the front end and team lead. The way we display that is you get the physical tumor in front of you, and then you can basically turn on and off different genes and see what the expression of each of the genes in each of the cells is. So you might be interested in a particular form of estrogen. You'd pop that down on the table and the estrogen will be highlighted within the sample. And then you can then rearrange the sample not to be shown spatially, but to be shown data-wise. So you can put all the estrogen on the y-axis, something else on the x, and something else on the z, and get this big 3D graph that you can move around. Then you can switch back and forth and output new samples, and you can then share over the TIA network with other scientists. Right now, we're pretty blunt on that. It's just different colors and shapes. We're going to be hopefully hiring some visualization people over the next while and figuring out how to show 23 different subtypes in a cluster of 100,000 cells in a way that doesn't make your mind explode. Thank you so much.